Hey there, fellow wanderers. Tonight we turn the quiet pages of forgotten histories, tracing how women's anxiety was understood, soothed, or misunderstood across the ages. Picture yourself in the corridors of time. The air carries whispers of anxious hearts and the many hands that tried, in earnest or error, to ease them. In one moment, you're wandering through a sunlit marketplace, where apothecaries promise calm in the form of bottled herbs, powders, and whispered hope. In another, you sit inside a medieval chamber, lit only by candle glow, as a healer chants softly, offering warmth and ritual in a world too cold to listen. Some remedies were strange, some dangerous, and some surprisingly tender. While many would fail today's scrutiny, they reveal something timeless, our yearning to ease what we cannot always name. So before we drift into this gentle, winding story, take a moment to like this video and subscribe, but only if stories of care, confusion, and quiet resilience speak to you. Drop a comment. Where are you watching from, and what time is it as you begin this nighttime reflection? Now dim the lights. Let your fan echo like distant wind through the walls of history. Let's begin. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. As you step into this world of old remedies, let me take you back to the winding paths of ancient civilizations. It's here that the origins of anxiety treatments begin to unfurl. The world of medicine in early history was a fascinating blend of science, mysticism, and sometimes utter guesswork. Picture ancient societies where the causes of anxiety were not just visible symptoms, but also the invisible workings of spirits, humors, and celestial influences. This is the terrain you'll traverse, unveiling both common practices and the more eccentric. We begin with the Egyptians, who are famously known for their deep reverence for the spiritual and the divine. In the bustling ancient city of Thebes, the air is thick with the heady aroma of herbs. People here believe strongly in the healing powers of nature. As you walk past the vendor stalls, you might come across herbalists offering remedies to calm the workings of an anxious mind. The Egyptians were pioneers in using natural resources. Plants like chamomile and peppermint were steeped into fragrant teas to soothe not just the body, but the mind as well. It's easy to imagine the soft clinking of clay cups, the steam rising gently as women gathered to share not only these infusions, but their worries too. However, ancient treatments for anxiety did not stop at herbal methods. Amulets were commonly worn to invoke protection from deities believed to ward off ill feelings. Anxieties were often attributed to malevolent spirits, and thus spiritual balancing acts and rituals were also practiced under the watchful eye of a priest or healer. It's moments like these that show how interwoven the spiritual was with medical treatment, a common theme you'll notice repeatedly in this journey. Moving through time and space, as if on an invisible train, the Greek philosophers come into view. Gathered under the sheltering shade of a grand tree, debates on the nature of anxiety ensue. Was it the soul, the body's imbalance, or a mischievous concoction of both? Among these thinkers, Hippocrates stood out, his teachings casting long shadows. He moved medical thought away from spiritual explanations to ideas based on physical condition. According to Hippocratic medicine, anxiety could stem from an imbalance of blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile, the famous four humors. You can almost hear the rasp of chalk on slate as these theories take shape. In stark contrast, a few seats away, philosophical counterparts questioned the inherent wisdom of rational medicine. These debates remain unfinished, echoing through time, as historians still argue whether the Greeks' pursuit for rational explanations laid the foundation for modern psychology or simply tossed an intellectual pebble across a pond of mystery. The transition to ancient Rome is a heady blend of sensory experiences, earthy tones, multifaceted textures, and lively voices converging at the famed Roman baths. These were not merely for cleansing, but were sanctuaries of relaxation and rejuvenation. Imagine the warm water lapping gently against your skin, the mild chatter that flutters like a gentle breeze, and the soft, flickering shadows of oil lamps playing against walls. Many women found refuge in these baths, where emotional burdens could be shed, if only for the moment. The baths offered not just respite, but acted as communal spaces where solace was found in shared experiences of anxiety, bonding over the shared human condition. And so, as you drift through these ancient scenes, an image slowly forms of how intertwined culture, medicine, and spirituality were in addressing the anxiety that has affected women and people at large for millennia. Of course, the attempt to understand anxiety was often couched in images of harmony and imbalance, of cures as much mystical as they were medicinal. So here you begin, slowly exploring this panorama of historical remedies, knowing well that these practices are just whispers in the grand narrative of how societies treated anxiety. Each enclave, each remedy, provides a voice, a perspective, and a piece to the ongoing puzzle of managing and understanding the anxious mind. Stay with this gentle stream of thought, feeling your mind relax into the cadence of antiquity, a soothing prelude to where you'll journey next. As you continue to wander along the path of time, let your senses guide you to the fertile banks of the Nile, where the clear blue skies meet the golden sands of the deserts in ancient Egypt. It's here, amid this breathtaking landscape, that the use of herbal medicine flourished, providing relief for those afflicted by anxiety. The Egyptians, forever attuned to the natural world around them, tapped into the might of flora to craft remedies designed to calm and soothe. Imagine, if you will, the bustling activity in an ancient marketplace. Fragrant bunches of chamomile with its delicate daisy-like flowers are lovingly bundled by herbalists who know well the calming properties the plant possesses. Peppermint, a perennial favourite, is gathered too. Its invigorating scent thought to uplift spirits and ease feelings of distress. The soothing preparation of these herbs into tea was more than just a pragmatic remedy. It was a ritual steeped in tradition, adorning the everyday lives of Egyptian women, providing comfort in moments of unease. Within the heart of a cool stone chamber, picture a woman sitting quietly, sipping this restorative elixir. The steam curls upwards, mingling with the ambient aroma of incense. The air is tranquil, imbued with the promise of serenity, much like a contemporary yoga class, but without the pastel leggings and inevitable downfall into social media bragging. Beyond mere brews, the Egyptians' approach entwined the spiritual and the material. Anxiety, seen as a disruption in spiritual harmony, required divine intervention. Thus, amulets and miniature masterpieces of piety and protection were pressed into eager hands. Crafted from precious metals or stones, these were not just ornaments, but conduits of peace, believed to summon the favour of gods and fend off malevolent forces. Picture the bright glint of carnelian against sunlit skin, an octagonal talisman of fortitude against the world's hidden anxieties. Meanwhile, in the sacred spaces of temples, priests, clinging to scrolls steeped in arcane knowledge, would conduct elaborate rituals. These rituals, often shrouded in incense and mystery, aimed to restore the soul's balance and drive away the mental chaos. The Nile's warm embrace, like a sanitized day spa of today, would cradle countless souls seeking tranquility and escape from mental upheavals. Through these glimpses, you observe how deeply intertwined Egyptian society was with its surroundings, leveraging everything from riverside weeds to divine whispers in order to navigate the murky waters of anxiety. It's a magical mix of practical and mystical, one that would make a modern-day naturopath bow in appreciation. And as you muse upon these scenes, consider how these efforts reflect the essence of Egyptian belief. The universe held vibrational harmony at its core, and it was through the harmony of mind, body, and spirit that one could find peace. A sentiment that has travelled through time, echoed in the holistic health movements of today. Interestingly, while some might raise their eyebrows at such combinations of treatments, they are not dissimilar to the multifaceted approaches in contemporary therapy. Historians still argue whether such ancient practices laid down the biomedical approach, or merely offered an artistic assortment of symbols and guesses. Nevertheless, you can almost feel that same breeze of understanding passing over you, from ancient scholars to today's practitioners. As mystical as they were pragmatic, the Egyptians provided a paradigm of remedies rooted in both the earth and the cosmos, a duality that only heightened the enduring allure of their culture. So, find in these passages of time the hushed whispers of old rituals, the comforting hum of shared belief, gently rocking you towards a state of serene acceptance. Here, in this blend of natural and divine, lie profound lessons in comforting the anxious mind, offering inspiration for countless generations that followed. Your journey continues as you cross the shimmering waters of the Mediterranean, landing amidst the time-worn splendor of ancient Greece. Here, in the cradle of Western philosophy, the conversation surrounding anxiety begins to take on new dimensions. Imagine yourself nestled under the vast dome of a cerulean sky, surrounded by olive trees whose leaves dance and sway in the soft breeze. The soft murmurs of philosophical debate gently tickle your ears as you saunter past scholarly enclaves where the great thinkers of antiquity gather. In this era that birthed many foundational ideas, anxiety was a topic of genuine intrigue and investigation. Central to their explorations was the question that fascinated and perplexed the ancients. Was anxiety a phenomenon of the physical self, or did its roots run deeper, nestled within the elusive realms of the soul? This debate resonates throughout the ages, whispering across great marble steps and winding down shadowy streets. Participate, if only in spirit, in a dialogue between scholars like Pythagoras and Plato, who often debated the nature of existence itself. Within these discussions you find the seeds of thought that struggle to unravel the enigma surrounding human emotion. Aren't you grateful for modern therapy sessions that don't typically involve toga-clad dilettantes and infinite cups of wine? From these conversations emerged the prevailing notion that physical humours, blood, phlegm, yellow bile and black bile played a crucial role in emotional health. Hippocrates, often revered as the father of medicine, championed this theory with aplomb. Picture him, perhaps scribbling furiously in his notes as he classified individuals into different temperaments based on these humours, striving to find balance and harmony, much like an alchemist looking for the philosopher's stone. You might chuckle, thinking about how present-day medical students would find these discussions refreshingly unencumbered by exams and caffeine-induced stress. Yet not all agreed with this hypothesis. Plato, whose feet seem almost incapable of treading on anything less than celestial clouds of abstraction, emphasized the dualistic separation of body and soul. Within this vast expanse of philosophical contemplation, he argued that anxiety, like so many other aspects of the human spirit, was a reflection of the soul's inherent tensions that existed due to a disjointed state of moral and ethical conduct. Even Aristotle, ever the empirical observer, pondered such matters. He maintained that anxiety sprang from not just internal imbalances, but also from the external. You can visualize him strolling along paths covered in wild flowers, seeking evidence from nature and keenly observing the human condition. The lingering question, how environment, character, and biology interplay to provoke such deep-seated emotion, remains as relevant now as it did then. Historians still argue whether these deliberations presented a mere philosophical exercise, or if they were the fledgling attempts at what would later bloom into psychological inquiry. The smoke and shadow of ambiguity surround these early ideas, leaving space for interpretation and debate that wafts timelessly through the pages of history. As the sun casts its long shadows over the Parthenon, contemplate how these ancient scholars and their discourses set in motion a process of critical examination that would ripple forward through the ages. Their luminous ideas, mingled with the winds of innovation and exploratory thought, fanned the flames of curiosity that even flicker today in our continuous pursuit to unravel the intricate layers of anxiety. Soaked in the melodious dialectics of ancient Greece, your evening stroll inspires a tranquil appreciation for the wisdom that lies in contemplation, a space where the ancient and the contemporary coalesce to offer insights into the ever-pertinent thread of anxiety and its treatment through time. Let this knowledge cradle you softly as we meander further into history's embrace. After luxuriating in the philosophical musings of ancient Greece, let the gentle waves of the Aegean Sea carry you onward to the sprawling empire of Rome. Imagine marble streets warmed by the Mediterranean sun, bustling with togas swishing and sandals tapping a rhythmic beat. The atmosphere is infused with a blend of vitality and serenity as you find yourself in the heart of Rome, where the cultural richness of the empire offers its own intriguing methods for soothing anxiety. One can't help but be drawn to the famed Roman baths, those grand complexes of stone and steam that functioned as the social heart of Rome. Picture yourself stepping into such a space, the air thick with mist and laughter, conversations bubbling like a fine, effervescent wine. These baths weren't merely for the cleansing of the body, they were sanctuaries where the restless mind could find a smooth pause. As warm water embraces you, feel the cares of the world trickle away as if gently swept by the setting sun. For many women here, this ritual wasn't simply therapeutic, but an essential exercise in releasing the knotted tension life's tribulations wind around the soul. These baths were more than just an outlet for physical and mental relaxation. They were vibrant cultural centers where social bonds formed and the collective stress of the population found relief. Imagine the rhythmic cadence of coordinated breathing in a modern wellness spa, stripped of its aromatherapy oils and soy-based face masks, but rich in camaraderie and ambience. To dismiss these bathing routines as mere indulgences would be to overlook their role in life's balance, a place where anxiety ebbed with every lap of water and sigh of contentment. Beyond the steamy embrace of the baths lay the extensive gardens, verdant havens where nature's tranquility coaxed calm from the most vexed of minds. Here you can wander alongside patricians through manicured hedges and vibrant flowers, the scents mingling in a delicate tranquility. Rome valued these public spaces, understanding well the gentle potency residing in nature's embrace, reminiscent of our modern parks and gardens, where we too seek solace from the humdrum clamour of daily existence. Meanwhile, the Roman medical practices of treating anxiety reflected a blend of inherited Greek methodologies and ingenious new approaches. Physicians sought to channel the Greek doctrine of humours, adapting them into unique Roman realities. However, they expanded treatments to include not just herbal remedies but also lifestyle adjustments. Rest, exercise, and dietary interventions were recommended. This emphasis uncannily echoes contemporary advice that stress management requires lifestyle tweaking. A busy career no longer fits the Roman mold of vita somnia. The Roman innovativeness also spun into the arts. The theatre became a crucial outlet, allowing individuals to escape their lives' anxieties by immersing themselves in stories and performances. You can almost hear the laughter erupting through the applause, the way a well-timed meme might today add levity to the scrolling worries on our screens. Just as in Greece, Romans too held their spiritual beliefs in high esteem, with the deities playing a role in how one might appeal for relief from anxiety's grasp. Votive offerings in temples to deities like Apollo, who governed health and healing, or Minerva, for wisdom and strategic tranquility, signified an earnest hope for divine intervention. Historians still argue whether Rome's communal approach to anxiety treatment fostered genuinely effective results, or merely masked symptoms with convivial distractions. But this intersection of the social, the natural, and the divine formed a cogent framework for grappling with the emotional challenges of the time. In contemplating Rome's approach to alleviating anxiety, you're left with a multifaceted perspective, one that acknowledges the profound need for community, the nurturing power of nature, and the solace found in shared cultural rituals. Here, amid marble and mist, emerges an appreciation for the Roman belief in a balanced life, a sentiment that retains its value even now. As you leave the buzzing heart of ancient Rome behind, let these reflections of bathhouse warmth and garden peace soften your thoughts, bidding you to rest in the soothing myths of the past. Allow the gentle lull to carry you, awaiting what surprises the medieval world may offer on your continued journey through time's vast corridor. As the sands of time sift softly from your hands, the ancient world gives way to the shadowed cloak of the medieval era, where the landscape of anxiety treatment becomes a curious blend of mysticism, religion, and rudimentary medicine. Imagine stepping into a dimly lit chapel, where ethereal rays of stained glass illuminate a space filled with both solace and whispers of unease. The medieval world, steeped in spirituality, saw anxiety through a lens vastly different from those of the Greeks and Romans. During this era, anxiety, often viewed as an affliction with spiritual origins, was associated with imbalance and sin. The medieval mind, ever attuned to the divine, perceived the anxious heart as a playground for wayward spirits, requiring interventions that were ethereal as much as they were earthly. Picture a woman clasping her rosary tightly, murmuring prayers in the flickering candlelight. It was believed that faith and piety had the strength to mend the fractious echoes within her soul. Enter the domain of the mystics and monastics, where isolation and reflection held sway. Retreats into monastic life, with its cycles of prayer and contemplation, formed a structured sanctum against the discord of anxiety. Imagine the tranquility of a cloistered courtyard, where the rhythmic chants of vespers resonate off stone walls, offering a kind of auditory balm. In this austere environment, women found solace in the hush of routine, the ordered certainty momentarily quieting the chaotic hums of an anxious mind. Mysticism and spiritual visions in particular held a fascinating sway over those troubled by anxiety. Figures like Hildegard of Bingen merged spiritual ecstasy with natural philosophy, creating a unique tapestry of healing techniques blending prayers with herbal remedies reminiscent of ancient practices. Her visions, cascading like vibrant frescoes across the mind, provided insights into the soul's discordant chords, echoing in harmony with the era's ethereal beliefs. Midwives and wise women were positioned precariously between accepted medical practice and feared superstition, endure both trusted and eccentric treatments. Remedies consisted of local herbs, tinctures, and sometimes rituals that might involve drawing symbols or reciting charms. Imagine a medieval cottage where smoke curls from a cauldron laden with chamomile and lavender, releasing an aroma designed to ease hearts heavy with apprehension. Many of these healers navigated the fraught interplay between wisdom and witchcraft, their knowledge gleaned from traditions both ancient and local. Perhaps a calming brew for a woman experiencing the mental heaviness of anxiety, accompanied by an earthenware vessel inscribed with astrological signs. Such was the convergence of celestial and terrestrial in medieval healing. The medieval approach extended beyond personal remedy to community-led efforts, where churches offered not only spiritual counsel, but sometimes tangible help for those troubled. Neighbourly kinship and shared faith served as the cornerstone of many interventions, reflecting a collective mindfulness toward emotional well-being. However, the air grows sombre, with a reminder of the danger that lurked for women whose anxiety drew more attention than sympathy. Accusations of witchcraft could float on the pervasive fear that enveloped many medieval societies, sometimes leading to grave consequences. A chilling reminder that women's mental health was not as benignly interpreted as a modern bout of anxiety cured by a peaceful nature walk and a Spotify playlist. Historians still argue whether these medieval remedies truly calmed the anxious spirit, or if they simply glossed over the symptoms in an attempt to fulfill spiritual obligation. The narrative threads of care and oppression are tightly wound, offering a complex picture that hints at deeper societal structures and personal struggles. As you quietly wade through these histories, feel the tolling of distant church bells echoing like heartbeats, each chime a reminder of the profound spectrum of experiences women faced in this age. In the blending shadows, one finds a duality of hope and dread, as time sets you on a trajectory weaving through darker days towards a brightening horizon. Let this medieval moment envelop you in its woven tapestry, the whispers of chants and rustle of herbal pouches a soft lullaby. As you drift past the age of mysticism and into the dawning light of the Renaissance, let the rich tones of history guide you gently through the night. As the medieval shadows fade, the dawn of the Renaissance breaks, casting a light filled with curiosity and an eagerness for rebirth. With this new era comes a revitalized perspective on many things, including the understanding and treatment of women's anxiety. Imagine yourself strolling through a sun-dappled garden, the air alive with the scent of blooming flowers and the colors of a world ready to embrace new ideas. This period of renewed exploration ushered in not just art and science, but also a more nuanced approach to the mind and its occasional disquiets. In the vibrant city centres like Florence and Venice, the bustling streets carried the sounds of merchants, artisans and thinkers, all engaging in the lively dance of commerce and conversation. It was here that anxiety, once enveloped in shadow and superstition, found itself more scrutinized, analyzed, and yes, occasionally misunderstood. The Renaissance, with its humanist spirit, began to prod and probe, just as a scientist might peek under a microscope for today's elusive DNA strands. During this era, there was a gradual movement away from the overwhelming influence of spiritual perspectives towards a more balanced integration of both the body and mind. Physicians began to look again at natural remedies, drawing on ancient texts and newfound botanical studies to treat anxiety with the grace of educated inquiry rather than whimsy. Herbal concoctions, no longer mired in the mystical chants of the past, took on a semblance of empirical study. You imagine apothecaries blending chamomile with lemon balm, their efforts less akin to witchcraft and more a precursor to modern-day pharmaceuticals. In palatial settings, where the more luxurious facets of life sparkled, music and art became more than mere indulgences. They were regarded as therapeutic, albeit culturally exclusive, treatments. The sweeping melodies of the lute and the intricate harmonies of the madrigal were thought to move the soul, guiding it to a state of calm and balance. Picture women in elaborate gowns, their faces softening as lute strings sigh and choral voices weave a tapestry of sound that tempers the mind's unrest. The creative arts also opened sanctuaries for self-expression, allowing women to explore their emotions through paint, sculpture, and poetry, terrestrial offerings to balance the celestial tumults within. Imagine a poet, pen in hand, channeling her inner turmoil into verses, each stroke a gentle whisper to her soul. While scholarly debate flared over whether these acts of creation constituted genuine anxiety relief or merely temporary diversions, the artistic realm offered a space where complex internal landscapes could be navigated with a brush or quill. Medicine, too, underwent a transformative period during the Renaissance. While astrology maintained its tenuous grip on medical practice, a greater emphasis was placed on observational study and natural sciences, with occasional forays into the workings of the mind. Practitioners like Paracelsus emerged, advocating for a synergy between alchemy and the burgeoning field of chemistry. Although his concoctions might puzzle today's scientists, his approach reflected a seismic shift towards empirical study, a step away from esoteric and towards experimentation. As you amble through this flourishing landscape of rediscovery, note the intricate wall frescoes that tell tales of human triumphs and trials, a reminder of the transformative journey from the shadows of medieval times into this realm where science and art converge in harmony. The winds of the Renaissance coaxed the tendrils of anxiety treatment towards the sun, seeking understanding rather than fear. Historians still argue whether the Renaissance truly advanced the treatment of anxiety or merely polished its perception with intellectual varnish. Nevertheless, this era remains a crucial chapter in the ongoing dialogue between the scientific and the spiritual, both pieces necessary to craft a holistic understanding of anxiety that resonates to this day. And as you pivot from the sunlit corridors of Renaissance palazzos to the other side of this era, allow the symphony of discovery and innovation to cradle your thoughts. The burgeoning sense of inquiry lays stones on the path towards the unfolding complexity of the Victorian age, where the whispers of history will carry you next. A place where anxiety will be met with further challenges, wrapped in layers of corsetry and prim etiquette. Let the elegance of the Renaissance's enlightenment gently buoy you forward on this tranquil voyage through the corridors of time. As the lantern light of the Renaissance fades, you find yourself ushered into the Victorian era, a time draped in layers of decorum, industry, and, paradoxically, emotional repression. Imagine the streets of London, alive with the rhythmic clatter of horse-drawn carriages and the distant hum of progress as the Industrial Revolution propelled society into newfound modernity. Yet, beneath this veneer of advancement, anxiety lurked, often misidentified and mishandled in ways that leave us intrigued and occasionally bemused. In this hierarchy-driven world where women were expected to embody virtues of grace, obedience, and restraint, anxiety was frequently subsumed under the broad and ambiguous diagnosis of hysteria. Feel the weight of this term as it hung over women like a phantom, embodying a myriad of symptoms from emotional agitation to physical ailments. For many women, hysteria became the catch-all label for their invisible struggles, an unfortunate legacy of misunderstanding that echoes into the current era with the casual dismissal of being hysterical. Amidst these dim drawing rooms, imagine yourself in a typical Victorian parlour. The air is thick with the delicate scent of lavender water, the rustle of crinoline skirts accompanied by the muted clinking of teacups. In such spaces, emotional expression was often stifled under the pressure of propriety, leading to a unique conundrum. The very manners expected to maintain social order frequently conduced to the anxiety intensifying beneath the facade of calm. The treatments for this so-called hysteria were as varied as they were peculiar, often reflecting societal norms and curiosities of the age. The hysterical paroxysm, for example, combined bizarre treatments with medical authorities' nonchalant air of seriousness. More benign treatment options included the prescription of long, restorative vacations in the countryside. Imagine expansive estates brimming with fragrant gardens, lending their tranquility to women for whom the beauty of nature was a balm far more effective than any tonic. Remember the rest cure, a treatment immortalized in literature by Charlotte Perkins Gilman's The Yellow Wallpaper. This prescribed treatment involved extensive bed rest, isolation, and an imposed lack of stimulation, a recipe for deterioration rather than recovery. You might catch an ironic smirk on your face when realizing that today's approaches flip this method entirely, favoring active engagement and social interaction as part of cognitive therapy. Victorian society also flirted with the borders of what was considered modern psychotherapy, although their methods often veered toward the outlandish. Vibratory devices, let the wry chuckle commence, were believed to relieve symptoms, with physicians often applying such treatments in clinical settings. On a more intellectual front, hypnosis found a respected advocate in figures like Jean-Martin Charcot, who sought to examine the mind's intricacies and inadvertently laid groundwork for future psychological exploration. Still, there existed a profound misunderstanding between the patient's experienced reality and societal expectation. Suffering was marginally mitigated by the era's architectural spaces, grand libraries and sitting rooms offering quiet dens of respite. You can almost feel heavy velvet drapes absorbing trepidation like today's noise-cancelling headphones. Even as women navigated the perils of Victorian anxiety, the suffragette movement kindled a spark of empowerment. It's important to acknowledge this burgeoning sense of agency, a crucial counterbalance to the oppressive weights of the time. Women demanded not only equality in their political rights, but an understanding of their health, rooted in science rather than stereotype. Amidst the tapestries and tea sets, historians still argue whether the Victorian solutions to anxiety were merely trappings of their time, or essential stepping stones hinting at the future evolution of mental health understanding. Though these methods often stumbled in addressing root causes, they nonetheless provide a glimpse into a society inching towards recognition and reform. As you exit the Victorian drawing room, the echo of suppressed sighs and the scratch of a quill pen reverberates softly, luring you onward. The stately elegance of the age lingers, preparing you to wander into the early 20th century, where scientific inquiry and innovative treatments will be laid bare, embraced and debated by a world still grappling to understand the complexity of the anxious mind. Allow Victorian propriety to rest gently, like the pages of a well-worn novel set aside on a quiet afternoon, as history invites you to explore further in the calming narrative of discoveries yet to unfold. As the velvet curtains of the Victorian era draw to a close, they give way to the dawn of the 19th century, shimmering with promise and palpable change. Imagine a world enlivened by the hum of industrial progress and scientific discovery, where restless spirits find both challenge and refuge. Welcome to an era where the treatment of women's anxiety began to navigate new paths, caught between tradition and modernity, much like a steam locomotive chugging away from old stations into unexplored frontiers. In the glow of gaslight and innovation, the concept of rest cures continued to find champions among the medical community. The theory was simple, even appealing. Seclusion would bring clarity, and silence would quiet the turbulent soul. The echo of Victorian sensibilities was not entirely lost. Many physicians still believed that complete rest, often in cold, bland rooms isolated from family and society, would somehow serve as a magical panacea. Yet, while intended as a healing retreat, these settings could inadvertently amplify the very anxiety they sought to diminish. Imagine the stark calm of a private sanatorium, punctuated only by the soft tread of nurses' footsteps. The rooms are neat, even Spartan, with windows inviting sterile sunlight to draw patterns on walls like whispered secrets. For many women, however, the lack of stimulation became a breeding ground for introspection that spiraled not into tranquility, but into a deeper well of disquiet. The irony is not lost on us. A treatment so focused on minimizing outside interference often magnified the inner chaos it aimed to abate. Nevertheless, the winds of change were undeniable. The late 19th century saw the germination of psychotherapy as a field, heavily influenced by burgeoning scientific inquiry. The medical community slowly began acknowledging what many had known instinctively, that the mind's workings are as intricate as the machines revolutionizing the world around them. Step into a Viennese office, redolent with cigar smoke and theories. Here Sigmund Freud begins to unravel the skeins of the subconscious, a revolutionary notion that thoughts, fears and anxieties dwell deep within us, shaped by experience and often inaccessible through mere observation. The emergence of psychoanalysis marked a profound shift, offering a framework to explore anxiety not just as a physical ailment, but as part of a broader psychological landscape. Yet alongside Freud's legacies lay alternative approaches. Some physicians explored hydrotherapy, imagined the gentle lapping of water against tiled walls, with therapists hoping the rhythm could calm racing minds. Others turned to emerging pharmaceuticals, experimenting with concoctions that heralded the rise of modern medication. The balancing act between therapy and medication persists today, rooted in these historical intersections of science and hope. Even as roles shifted gradually along these new lines, expectations placed upon women remained burdensome. Domestic responsibilities, societal pressures, and the nascent stirrings of gender equality clashed, creating a mosaic of anxiety distinct to the era. The image of a harried housewife attempting to find balance amidst a cacophony of modern distractions presents a parallel to contemporary struggles with stress. Notably, the arts found their voice during these times, providing an outlet for emotion that mirrored the mind's complexity. Women poets, painters, and writers gave expression to their inner worlds, transcending the isolation and reverberating themes of anxiety with raw candor and poignant beauty. As social reforms commenced gradually, physicians and societal leaders slowly began to re-evaluate the systems in place, seeking to rectify misguided prescriptions and embrace therapeutic diversity, perhaps realizing that understanding anxiety required not just revolution, but empathy. Historians continue to debate the efficacy of these early psychological approaches, pondering whether they opened the gates of modern understanding or merely shuffled through the texts with curiosity and intrigue. The truth remains as multifaceted as the era itself, coupled with the persistent quest for answers that would echo into the future. With the comforting click of the clock, allow these reflections on the past to gently illuminate your thoughts. The 19th century whispers secrets of both folly and promise, setting the stage for the more scientifically grounded, yet imaginative explorations in the works. And as this story meanders into the dawning 20th century, let this soft anticipation carry you forward, buoyed by the promise of further discovery and the soothing hum of timeless narratives yet to unfold on this restful journey. As the echoes of the 19th century fade into the background, the early 20th century dawns, with a fresh outlook on psychological exploration. Picture yourself in the bustling streets of Vienna, a city alive with innovation and debate. The air is thick with the promise of unraveling the mysteries of the human mind, as the ages-old question of anxiety finds itself under the lens of burgeoning psychiatry and psychoanalysis. Step into the quiet sanctuary of Sigmund Freud's office, a realm where the subconscious takes center stage. Here, amidst plush couches and walls lined with tomes, Freud delves into territory as yet uncharted, venturing into the depths of the human psyche. His belief in the id, ego, and superego, a tantalizing trilogy of inner life, offers a framework for understanding anxiety as interwoven with unmet desires and repressed memories. Imagine, reclined there, eyes shut, sifting through dreams with the learned doctor, every word, every pause an effort to bring the hidden into the light. Freud's psychoanalytic couch becomes a symbol, a place where the anxious unravel their tangled thoughts. But in the grand debate of history, not everyone agrees on its efficacy. Historians still argue whether Freud's methods were the much-needed jolt to the system, or a diversion inspired by conjectures too abstract for concrete ailments. Nevertheless, the couch becomes a stage for introspection, much like our modern therapy sessions, minus the cigars and pocket watches, of course. Alongside Freud, contemporaries like Carl Jung diverge into terrains equally provocative and profound. Jungian psychology introduces the concept of the collective unconscious, a shared reservoir of human experience. Imagine traversing a dreamscape, painted not by individual hands, but by collective brushstrokes of archetypes, tales, and myths. Within this framework, anxiety becomes not merely personal, but a reflection of humanity's shared story. Jung's ideas add depth to the growing discourse, a reminder that mystery and meaning often dwell together. While these theoretical explorations continue, practical approaches to anxiety take root as well. By the early 1920s, occupational therapy begins to gain traction, offering patients creative outlets for their anxieties. Envision women engaged in weaving, painting, or gardening, passive meditation transforming into active tranquility. These activities become vehicles for mindfulness, long before the term becomes a hashtag on social media. As the world shifts towards modern psychology, it also witnesses the tension between tradition and new methodologies. While psychoanalysis captivates some, others remain skeptical, opting instead for more physiological approaches, such as electroconvulsive therapy, a therapeutic attempt fraught with its own controversies and ethical implications. Imagine the startling jolt of electricity intended to reset a troubled mind, a technique that even today ignites debate regarding its effectiveness and compassion. Yet, amidst these conversations, the world bears witness to unprecedented feminist movements challenging traditional gender roles and advocating for women's mental health. The suffragette waves crash with vigor, amplifying voices that demand acknowledgement of women's experiences beyond hysterical labels. Activists insist upon considering the societal stresses that exacerbate anxiety for women, heralding a deeper understanding of mental health as intrinsically linked to environment and context. Psychiatry and psychology embark on parallel journeys during this period, one rooted in science, the other in socio-cultural awareness, each playing a vital role as they weave an intricate narrative. The era's quest is complemented by art and literature, where authors like Virginia Woolf capture the nuances of anxiety in their works, blending literary aesthetics with psychological insights to great acclaim. Feel a sense of journeying through this early 20th century period, embraced by a dance of scientific and philosophical advancements. As understanding expands, so too does the opportunity for dialogue and mutual discovery. The struggle for clarity and compassion, hindered but not halted by societal constraints, continues its passionate pursuit. And now, as the early decades meet their end, their legacy remains alive in burgeoning new schools of thought and therapies that nestle into the fabric of our time. This journey propels you onward, into an era where world challenges mount and the search for effective mental health solutions becomes more pressing than ever. Allow these whispered stories and intricate dialogues to gently guide your thoughts, transitioning softly towards the tumultuous advancements of the mid-20th century. Let this gentle anticipation linger as you sway forward in this narrative, accompanied by history's soothing cadence, as the steady cadence of progress ushers you forward into the early to mid-20th century. A world on the brink of transformation unfolds. Imagine yourself poised on the precipice of change, where science and society collide in a vibrant tapestry, coloured by war, recovery, and revelation. The landscape of women's anxiety and its treatment begins to diverge, shaped by the dual engines of conflict and compassion racing through society. With the world embroiled in the chaos of two world wars, the psychological toll becomes more pronounced. As men take up arms, women bear the brunt on the home front, stepping into roles previously unimaginable, even as they confront mounting anxieties mirrored by a world in turmoil. The impact of this global upheaval casts a long shadow, accentuating the need for more effective mental health treatments. Imagine the inner storms that swirl against this tumultuous backdrop, hearts heavy with the strain of uncertainty and anticipation. In response to this growing acknowledgement of trauma, psychiatry moves into a new era, striving to comprehend the intricate dance between biology and psychology. The notion of anxiety as a recognized medical condition gains traction, with researchers and practitioners eager to address the multitude of challenges manifesting before them. Picture sleek lecture halls lined with earnest faces, each peering into the unknown, new conversations igniting like sparks in a petrol-soaked sky. Modern psychiatry, progressing through the decades, begins shaping its methodologies through empirical studies and clinical trials. The notion of psychotropic medications emerges from laboratories, offering a chemical lens through which to view anxiety, a marked departure from the age-old reliance on conversation and introspection alone. You might chuckle, picturing clinicians in starched lab coats excitedly discussing diazepam, a miracle benzodiazepine that would later shape therapeutic interventions across the globe. This period also sees the emergence of more nuanced understandings of anxiety, as conditions like PTSD, though not formally recognized by that acronym until later, start to capture scholarly attention. Some trauma therapy starts to take shape, addressing the needs of those returning from the front lines, a treatment vocabulary that echoes throughout ensuing decades. The world, gripped by reimagining recovery, remembers its women, who too grapple with their emotional bruises and persevering resilience. Yet within these cloistered seminars and conference halls, not all is concord. Historians still argue whether these strides were genuinely progressive, or whether they merely dressed old assumptions in the sleek garments of scientific rhetoric. The era remains complex, not free of its ingrained biases, yet nudging ever so slowly toward the understanding that mental health deserves both intricate investigation and empathetic care. In the realm of therapy, cognitive approaches start to challenge the dominance of psychoanalysis. Scholars like Aaron Beck and Albert Ellis champion cognitive behavioral therapy, emphasizing the power of thought patterns over mere emotional catharsis. Imagine the sweet relief of understanding, as if a door previously unseen swings open, allowing clients to not just speak, but engage actively with their anxieties in a structured way. During these years, the world's artistic expression also undergoes transformation. The poignant chronicles of women writers and poets who paint vivid portraits of anxiety provide new platforms for empathy and engagement. These narratives stir public consciousness, forging connections between personal struggles and collective experiences, reminding us that, in both turmoil and tranquility, human emotion remains a powerful agent of change. As this transformative era draws to a close, one feels the flickering lights of discovery mingling with the shadows of past misconceptions. The embrace of modern methodologies continues to foster a deepening understanding of anxiety in its myriad expressions. The world, poised on the verge of new movements and revolutions in thought, begins to hint at the fascinating transformations of the late 20th century, where novel therapeutic approaches shall emerge. Let yourself be carried by the soothing currents of history's narrative, weaving through moments of trial and triumph as you step into the post-war period, a time ripe with opportunities for peace and inner healing. As this part of the journey concludes, linger in the gentle anticipation of unfolding stories, waiting quietly around the bend of time's continuum. As the shadows of wartime recede and the mid-20th century unfolds, a societal calm begins to settle, leaving room for introspection and healing. Imagine the sweeping changes that arose as families reunited and attempted to piece their lives back together after the tumult of global conflict. The post-war era is a period of optimism mixed with the weight of collective trauma, and within this tapestry, anxiety becomes a common, if not ubiquitous, thread. With the return to a semblance of normalcy, pharmacology takes center stage as a symbol of hope, challenging and reshaping the landscape of mental health treatment. During the 1950s and 1960s, tranquilizers become increasingly prevalent, their promise being a quick and easy remedy for the pervasive undercurrent of anxiety afflicting many, particularly women. It is a time when relief was often sought in the form of a neat pharmaceutical promise, a pearl-like pill nestled in an unassuming bottle. Valium emerges as a household name, hailed as a panacea for the restless mind. You might picture a typical suburban kitchen of the era, the gentle clink of a glass as it's filled with water, followed by the barely audible sweep of a pill being swallowed. The catchphrase, "Mother's Little Helper," comes to mind, evoking the bittersweet reality faced by countless women. A temporary reprieve encased in the guise of modern medicine, but often masking deeper spiritual and societal disquiet. These tranquilizers, while wildly popular, raise questions about dependency, offering a temporary band-aid for a complex human experience rather than addressing the root cause. The ease of symptom relief with medication competes with the burgeoning awareness that anxiety's sources are often deeply embedded in lifestyle, societal expectations, and personal history. In parallel, the field of psychiatry evolves in its attempts to provide clarity and comfort. Clinicians increasingly recognize that medication alone isn't an all-encompassing solution. As such, more comprehensive treatment strategies begin to emerge. Picture group therapies forming in impromptu conference rooms, individuals gathering to share stories, lending empathy to one another, a heartfelt complement to the sterility and solitude of pill-based measures. Simultaneously, the world witnesses the rise of feminist movements that question established norms, providing a critical eye on how women's anxiety, and indeed women's health more broadly, has been managed. Themes of empowerment and equal rights take root, urging a reconsideration of women's roles, both in and out of the home, igniting a transformative spark that initiates broader dialogues about mental health, equality, and self-advocacy. This era of change sees the emergence of experts, extending their reach beyond clinical settings, making their way into living rooms through television and self-help books. A young couple might find themselves huddled around a television set or flipping through glossy magazine pages, their imaginations captured by the allure of smiling personalities and their on-point insights into a balanced, anxiety-free lifestyle. Yet, While progress accelerates in various directions, historians still argue whether the proliferation of tranquilizers offered substantial healing or merely sold an illusion, whether society truly dismantled archaic models or simply patched them with modern parallels. The debate remains enmeshed in both triumph and misconception. As this period draws naturally toward the kaleidoscope of the 1960s, a decade resplendent with innovation, resistance, and liberation, you find a world made primed for further revolutions in thought and treatment. The mechanisms of anxiety treatment turn once more amidst the gentle agitation of social movements, fervent in the pursuit of health and happiness. Let this portion of the journey mellow into a quiet reflection, one where societal scars and bright futures intertwine in gentle whispers. As the notes of the post-war symphony fade into the vibrant echoes of the 1960s, feel the rhythm of curiosity and transformation carry you into yet another chapter of this unfolding tale. Allow your lingering thoughts to drift slowly forward, anchored by history's undulating continuum, as you prepare to sail into the colourful waves of cultural upheaval and discovery. As you drift into the colourful embrace of the 1960s, imagine a world swirling with vibrant energy and cultural revolution. Here, amidst the kaleidoscopic shifts in music, art, and values, feminist movements gain momentum, reshaping society's approach to women's mental health and the treatment of anxiety. Picture city streets alive with marches and rallies, voices interwoven into a chorus demanding change. A wave of resilience and empowerment cresting upon the shores of history. This decade is marked by a profound questioning of established norms, where rigid gender roles and traditional treatments confront a burgeoning wave of self-awareness and social consciousness. Women begin to stand firm against the antiquated notion that anxiety is merely a moral weakness or a hysteria to be subdued. As you walk alongside these pioneers, feel the invigorating winds of liberation, spurring conversations about parity, opportunity, and women's healthcare. Against this backdrop, the medical world starts to evolve, acknowledging the complexity of women's mental health challenges beyond simple pharmaceutical solutions. Although tranquilizers remain popular, their widespread use draws scrutiny, sparking discussions around their role in perpetuating dependency without addressing the deeper issues at play. Imagine a living room gathering where conversations shift from cocktail recipes to dialogues about mental wellness, reflecting a shift towards transparency and communal support. Magazines and bestseller books advocate for self-help and holistic wellness, urging women to take charge of their mental health with the vigor of someone defying outdated societal constraints. Feminist literature blooms during this dynamic period, offering both insight and solace to those whose experiences were previously marginalized or dismissed. Works such as Betty Friedan's The Feminine Mystique unveil the silent struggles faced by many women, providing validation and fostering solidarity in recognizing shared experiences of anxiety amid domestic expectations. Feel the turbulent excitement of group sessions, consciousness-raising gatherings, where women delve deep into discussions about personal and political issues, unspooling their anxieties, reclaiming their narratives, and weaving networks of support. These gatherings, brimming with understanding and camaraderie, echo the importance of acknowledging individual emotions within the wider context of societal pressures. Meanwhile, the appeal of alternative therapies and grassroots movements flourishes. The rise of New Age philosophies encourages explorations into yoga, meditation, and a holistic approach to mental health that integrates body, mind, and spirit. Such modalities provide additional tools for women seeking to manage their anxiety within the embrace of gently probing inquiry. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, in its burgeoning form, sees its principles laid down during this era by the likes of Aaron Beck and Albert Ellis, who challenge clients to actively engage with their thoughts and behaviors. This methodology offers a practical, empowering path fostering resilience, adaptability, and self-efficacy. As movements swing like a pendulum, there are, of course, those who resist change, embracing the status quo and expressing skepticism at the pace and nature of these shifts. Historians still argue whether these seismic shifts in the 1960s presented concrete change or merely teased at reform, a narrative tension underpinned by both advocacy and conservatism. As you linger in the spirit of the 1960s, savor the rhythmic vitality of a decade where tides turned and quests for understanding deepened. The blending of ideology, culture, and new methodologies gradually gives rise to an era richer in potential and perspective, where women's anxiety becomes increasingly interpreted through the lens of strength and shared humanity. Feel the warm glow of this decade gently dimming as you prepare to traverse onward into the innovation-laden late 20th century. The stage is set for a continuous evolution of thought, shining light on the nuances of mental health treatment, a testament to the unwavering resilience that threads through your journey to the present day. Let this chapter draw to a soothing close, setting the rhythm of anticipation for the narrative awaiting just beyond the horizon. As the vibrant echoes of the 1960s fade, you find yourself stepping gently into the 1970, where the world continues to evolve in its understanding of women's anxiety. This era breathes fresh life into therapeutic practices, particularly with the formal introduction of cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. Imagine yourself in a modest office where a warm light floods the room, casting hopeful shadows that dance on the walls. Here the seeds planted by earlier psychologists are coming to fruition. CBT emerges as a beacon of clarity and practicality, offering an approach rooted in the belief that thoughts, emotions, and behaviors are interconnected. Picture a dedicated therapist guiding a woman through her anxious thoughts, seeing the transformative power of self-reflection and challenging negative thought patterns, like untangling a ball of yarn until it reveals a smoother thread. This therapeutic technique is not just an exploration but a hands-on toolkit, empowering individuals to mold their internal dialogues with mindful intention. With CBT gaining traction, you notice a shift in treatment from passive reception to active participation. The therapy encourages a break from persistent rumination, allowing women to step into roles where they hold the reins of their wellness journeys. Feel the quiet triumph and relief as women, once encumbered by spiraling anxiety, reclaim their agency. It's the present-day equivalent of having a GPS on a seemingly endless journey through fog-laden roads. Meanwhile, in wider society, discourse continues to evolve. There's an increasing emphasis on validating women's experiences as complex and multifaceted, promoting deeper understanding and empathy across social frameworks. A collective effort to unlearn the legacy of the recognition of anxiety as a legitimate psychological condition ceaselessly expands, influencing industries, policies, and education. In homes, within paper-bound cookbooks and glossy magazine pages, self-help guides promoting CBT techniques resonate, simplifying therapeutic lessons into digestible steps, helpful strategies for navigating the emotional mazes of daily life. Imagine advice passed like family recipes, anecdotes whispered between friends over coffee, strategies to distill the chaos of anxious thoughts into manageable moments. As the 1970s continue their journey of illumination, professional and amateur practitioners alike engage in the enthusiastic embrace of new understandings. Psychological research broadens its reach, honing in on approaches that combine biological, psychological, and social perspectives. A biopsychosocial model that blends dimensions to tackle the multiplicity of anxiety's roots. Picture discussions among diverse experts, psychiatrists, psychologists, and sociologists, contributing layers of understanding to this evolving symphony of treatment. But uncertainty remains. Historians still argue whether therapeutic advances truly democratized mental health care or remained largely accessible to those with means. Dialogues persist on how best to address the disparities that still fringe the edges of proposed progress. Yet in opening these dialogues, renewed commitments emerge, underscoring the era's focus on inclusivity and progressive solutions. As the decade unfurls, there exists a refreshing hope, a realization that understanding and treatment of anxiety are no longer confined within opaque walls, emerging instead into a burgeoning garden of diverse methodologies and mindsets. Women continue to play pivotal roles in how their needs are articulated and addressed, with many breaking into diverse professions, advocating for broader awareness and understanding. As you transition softly towards the turn of the next decade, you carry with you this sense of grassroots empowerment, the reassuring awareness that history moves not in isolated leaps, but through consistent strides forward, fueled by hope, curiosity, and resilience. As the pages of time turn and new landscapes loom, permit this narrative chapter to usher you onward, carrying forward the gentle anticipation of what awaits in the ever-evolving narrative of understanding women's anxiety through generations. As you gently step into the 1980s and beyond, you find yourself amidst an era that embraces a resurgence of holistic health concepts, offering renewed perspectives on the treatment of women's anxiety. Imagine a landscape painted with vibrant hues of possibility, where body, mind, and spirit intertwine seamlessly, forging pathways toward balance and well-being. This period marks a rekindling of interest in alternative therapies, as people seek methods that complement traditional medicine. Picture the cozy, softly lit rooms where yoga classes convene, a symphony of deep breathing, meditation, and gentle stretches designed to harmonize the inner world with the outer. Feel the mat beneath your feet, an anchor grounding you as mindful practices wade into the once uncharted territory of stress relief. The allure of Eastern philosophies captivates the Western world, with practices such as acupuncture and Ayurveda gaining footholds. Envision a serene treatment room, with the rhythmic sound of soft music accompanying the delicate placement of acupuncture needles. An experience meant to release tension and recalibrate energy flows within the body. While these practices find enthusiasts in realms seeking physical and emotional equilibrium, they also encounter skepticism from more traditional scientific circles. Alongside this shift, nutritional awareness enjoys its own renaissance, as elements of dietary health are examined through a lens of mental influence. The refrain, "You are what you eat," echoes with renewed emphasis. Imagine vibrant farmers' markets, bustling with people keen on incorporating fresh fruits, vegetables, and other wholesome foods into their diets. The understanding that nutrition plays a significant role in mental health becomes a cornerstone of holistic approaches, reinforcing the idea that a nourished body supports a serene mind. As you meander through the sensory panorama of these practices, notice the emerging dialogue around self-care and its integral role in anxiety management. Self-care blossoms into a cultural phenomenon, weaving itself into daily routines with self-reflection, rest, and nurturing activities viewed not as luxuries but as necessities. Women particularly embrace these concepts, seeking empowerment in the active pursuit of individuality and self-love. In the midst of soothing herbal teas and calming retreats, mainstream media also enlists these holistic practices. The advent of wellness publications and television programming introduces broader audiences to techniques such as guided imagery and deep relaxation exercises, tools for navigating modern life's complexities with newfound ease. Imagine these resources akin to wisdom scrolls for a digital age, accessible and inspirational, yet bereft of clickbait headlines. Still, the holistic zeitgeist does not pass without its share of critique. Historians continue to debate whether these practices offered genuine advancements, or if they veered dangerously close to commercial pandering, exploring whether the line between empowerment and exploitation blurred in the pursuit of fashionable wellness. Yet, the dialogue itself highlights a cultural willingness to probe beyond conventional boundaries. The era unfolds an ongoing dialogue between innovation and tradition, with pioneers across various fields championing a balanced approach to mental health. You observe gratitude toward those who dare to explore untrodden paths, individuals who advocate for diverse methodologies, informed by ancient wisdom and evolving science. And so, as the 1980s vibrant tapestry wraps around you, poised at the threshold of future decades, feel the warmth of anticipation. With each inspiring breath, appreciate the dynamic interplay of ideas, cultures, and therapies that have brought both solace and transformation to countless lives. As you step forward into the end of the 20th century, continue floating on the promise of possibilities that ripple through time's tranquil corridor, ever mindful of history's ebbing whispers and gentle truths waiting to be discovered anew. As the late 20th century unfolds into the final decades before a new millennium, the quest for understanding and managing anxiety finds itself swept up in the gentle embrace of mindfulness trends. Picture a world in which the hectic pace of everyday life meets a blossoming desire for introspection, for being present in the moment. Here, the art of mindfulness unfurls like a delicate lotus, tethering anxiety to the gentle rhythm of the present, rather than the turbulence of what has been or what might be. Mindfulness, with its roots in ancient Buddhist practices, begins to nourish Western consciousness, advocating for a deliberate focus on the present, an awareness anchored in kindness and curiosity. Imagine finding yourself in a quiet corner, a sanctum of peace despite the constant hum of modernity. Guided meditations, complete with soothing voices that glide like silk across the nerves, become accessible avenues for calming the overactive mind. The emphasis is not on quelling anxiety through avoidance, but on acknowledging its presence with gentle acceptance and understanding. Workshops and classes spring to life in urban environments overshadowed by the bustle of skyscrapers, offering urbanites moments of stillness and a respite from relentless demands. Picture yourself immersed in one of these sessions, a room filled with soft light and the scent of incense drifting through the air. A shared silence that, rather than being empty, is pregnant with possibilities for self-discovery and tranquility. With mindfulness comes the proliferation of the mindfulness meditation movement. Envision a serene practitioner gently guiding individuals through exercises designed to cultivate a non-judgmental awareness of thoughts and feelings. This practice fosters a compassionate space where anxiety can be observed without the pressure to immediately resolve or resist it. As these practices gain mainstream traction, technology also comes into play, offering mindfulness in the form of apps that deliver calm straight to the handheld gadgets that have become extensions of our hands. Imagine soothing audio sessions that accompany morning commutes or evening unwinding, weaving pockets of peace into the urban tapestry. While the mindful journey brings benefits to many, it invites skepticism from some corners. Historians still argue whether the Western adoption of mindfulness diluted its original intent, or artfully adapted ancient wisdom to address modern needs. Yet, the discourse underscores the power of cultural exchange, the fluidity of ideas crossing boundaries and evolving into tools vital for emotional well-being. Simultaneously, the late 20th century witnesses mindfulness dovetailing with cognitive behavioral therapeutic approaches, enriching therapeutic modalities by providing coping skills rooted in awareness and self-acceptance. This synthesis offers a beacon to those navigating the stormy seas of anxiety, finding empowerment in choice and response. Mindfulness becomes not just a personal endeavor, but also a societal pursuit, its implications rippling across classrooms and workplaces. Imagine children in schools beginning their day with mindful breathing, the clamor of lockers and chatter momentarily softened by the shared quietude. In workplaces, mindfulness programs offer employees a break from spreadsheets and deadlines, guiding them towards calm and focus, like finding pockets of serenity in bustling urban jungles. As you are carried gently along the winds of change through this realm painted with mindfulness, consider the woven tapestry of history's patterns in this harmonious evolution. Recognize how the present moment stands as a testament to an ever-evolving narrative, where traditional insights interlace with modern innovation, crafting pathways of understanding that honor the past while propelling us fearlessly towards the future. As this era glides into the threshold of the 21st century, permit the enduring tranquility of mindfulness to linger with you. Venture onward into a new era filled with the promise of more sophisticated technologies and evolving paradigms in mental health. Navigating through time's corridors with a blend of anticipation and serenity, ever attuned to the rhythms of existence and the whispering winds of change yet to come. Entering the dawn of the 21st century, the landscape of women's anxiety treatment continues to evolve, embracing a fusion of technological advancements and time-tested practices. Imagine a world quickened by the pulse of innovation, where pharmaceutical advancements forge new paths in addressing mental health, standing alongside holistic approaches and therapeutic conversations. Pharmaceutical developments have unfurled a new chapter in anxiety treatment. Imagine sleek laboratories where scientists, with white coats brushed by fluorescent glows, diligently work on refining medications that target anxiety symptoms with heightened precision. These modern medications, such as selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, SSRIs, offer hope for those whose lives are frequently overshadowed by worry and unease. For many, these advancements have transformed lives, allowing a reclaiming of vibrant colors in a world previously muted by anxiety. Experience the relief of a woman who, with a newfound steadiness, gazes into the mirror each morning, her reflection no longer defined by the worry etched into its surface, but by her own resilience. SSRIs and other medications act not as solitary saviors, but as companions to more comprehensive care plans. They are often combined with therapy, lifestyle changes, and mindfulness practices, an integrated approach that acknowledges the complex tapestry of mental health. Yet, even as pharmaceutical interventions extend their reach, a responsible conversation burgeons around the potential for side effects and the risk of dependency. Transparency in these discussions acts as a beacon, reminding all that while medications offer relief, they are but one thread in the broader fabric of mental health treatment. In tandem with pharmaceutical strides, the era witnesses a surge in personalized medicine. Imagine diagnostic tools that delve into genetic markers and individual brain chemistry, paving the way for tailored treatments that respond to the unique nuances of each person's experience. The promise of bespoke care captivates minds, offering a future where anxiety treatment echoes the individuality of the person it serves. This period also calls to mind the important consideration of equitable access. Throughout this journey of discovery, historians critique whether such advancements truly reach all demographics or remain the domain of those with economic privilege. Critics argue that a balance must be struck not only in innovation but also in accessibility, ensuring that help is available regardless of socioeconomic status. Technological marvels like wearable devices offer new dimensions to managing anxiety. Picture a sleek band encircling a wrist, its sensors tracking heart rate variability and detecting changes in stress levels. These devices offer real-time feedback, prompting users to engage in calming exercises when anxiety's grip tightens. Through apps and online platforms, technology wields its power to bring mindfulness, therapy practices, or support communities to our fingertips. A digital age echo of past communal gatherings. Incorporating big data analytics and artificial intelligence adds yet another layer of sophistication, with algorithms analyzing patterns across countless experiences to identify psychological trends, suggesting interventions with newfound accuracy. This era's fusion of human agency and machine learning evokes a harmonious balance, where the heart and data collaborate in pursuit of well-being. As you drift through this labyrinth of progress, marvel at the manifold options available to address anxiety with increasing precision and empathy. The patterns of previous eras echo, reminding us that while modalities multiply, the core, the human need for understanding and connection, remains unchanged. Let this dance of innovation bring hope and anticipation, carrying you to the edge of evolving ideologies and more sophisticated solutions on the horizon. For as this century unfolds, you walk arm in arm with history's continuum, holding close the whispering winds of progress, ever attuned to the hopes and healing they promise for the future. As the pages of time turn further into the 21st century, you find yourself immersed in the digital age, a world pulsating with virtual connections that redefine the narratives of anxiety and its treatments. Imagine screens glowing in every corner, each one a portal to endless possibilities and interactions, where the digital revolution touches every aspect of life, including how women experience and manage anxiety. In this digital landscape, the proliferation of information stands as both a boon and a challenge. Access to knowledge, once locked away in libraries or professional offices, now rests at the fingertips, with a keystroke bringing forth a cascade of advice, resources, and communities. Picture a woman in the quiet of her room, reaching through her device to online forums, where shared stories become threads of connection that weave a supportive tapestry around her. Online communities flourish, offering solace to those navigating anxiety. In these virtual spaces, the stigma that often accompanies mental health discussions begins to dissolve, as individuals find camaraderie in shared experiences and mutual encouragement. Feel the warmth of understanding as hearts once weighed down by solitude find lift in collective empathy. A powerful reminder that no one walks this path entirely alone. Yet, this ease of access also presents its own pitfalls. The vast sea of information, unregulated and unfiltered, can lead to misinformation and overwhelm. For some, the constant flow of digital stimuli exacerbates anxiety, creating an environment where the lines between virtual reality and the more tangible world blur. Imagine the hum of notifications, a continuous siren call that both connects and distracts, invoking the need for conscious curation and mindful consumption. Social media platforms become arenas for discussing mental health, their reach extending across geographies and cultures. They amplify voices advocating for awareness and understanding, yet they also hold a dual-edged power, cultivating environments where curated perfectionism pressures many into comparison and additional stress. In these virtual galleries, where life unfolds only in polished snapshots, anxiety finds fertile ground in the gaps between image and reality. Accompanying this digital evolution, the realm of teletherapy emerges as a new frontier. Picture therapists and clients connecting through screens, the boundaries of traditional therapy transcended by technology's capability. The convenience of video calls dissolves geographical constraints, enabling access for those previously marginalized by distance or mobility challenges. This transition reshapes the therapeutic relationship, allowing for flexibility and adaptability previously unimaginable. Amid these advancements, creative digital interventions spring forth. Imagine engaging with interactive mental health apps, designed to foster mindfulness, cognitive behavioral exercises, and even virtual reality environments that offer immersive scenarios for building resilience. These tools align with personal preferences and lifestyles, a harmonious blend of engagement and support that accompanies users through days' transitions. As the digital age progresses, scholars and innovators continue to wrestle with the balance between connectivity and well-being. Historians may argue that while the resources and reach of digital tools have transformed the landscape for anxiety treatment, they introduce new complexities requiring cautious navigation. The juxtaposition of being simultaneously connected and disconnected remains an ongoing paradox within modern experiences. In your stroll through this technological tapestry, consider the boundless potential cradled within the digital age, a sphere where innovation, intention, and humanity converge. Allow this interplay of connection and introspection to kindle your curiosity, guiding you gently into the nested layers of a world where technology underpins emotional resurgence. As the narrative presses forward, take with you the awareness that you stand on the precipice of further convergence, where digital intricacies await to intertwine with timeless quests for inner peace. Let anticipation swell softly as you prepare to step into an era that holds possibilities yet to unfold, destined to trace the historical lines drawn upon by anxieties, understanding, and hope intertwined. As you journey deeper into the 21st century, you find yourself amidst the rapid currents of social media, a thriving digital ecosystem that has become a staple of contemporary life. Envision a landscape painted with glowing screens, each a window into curated lives captured in fleeting snapshots and videos. The vibrant hum of notifications creating an ever-present web of virtual connection. Social media platforms, with their fast-reaching influence, emerge as both a boon and a challenge for those grappling with anxiety. On one hand, these forums offer unprecedented access to communities and resources, connecting individuals who might otherwise remain isolated. Picture a young woman finding comfort in an online group dedicated to sharing stories and tips on managing anxiety. A digital sanctuary where empathy flows freely, affording solace and solidarity that transcends geographic boundaries. Within these platforms, the culture of mental health advocacy blooms. Influencers and activists use their reach to challenge stigma, sparking conversations about anxiety, self-care, and mental wellness. Viral hashtag campaigns invite users to share their experiences, fostering a sense of collective empowerment and encouraging openness that challenges long-standing taboos. Yet the allure of the digital world also holds its own perils. The culture of comparison thrives amid the perfectly curated images and moments, casting long shadows where anxiety can all too easily take root. Imagine scrolling through an endless feed of polished lives, each brighter and more perfect than your own reflections. A comparison trap, where perceived inadequacies amplify feelings of doubt and anxious self-critique. The pressure to present an idealized version of oneself often leads to heightened susceptibility to stress. The anxiety induced by maintaining a digital persona can be as intangible as it is pervasive, with users striving to balance the line between authenticity and the polish of perceived perfection. For many, social media becomes a double-edged sword, a source of connection and inspiration, but also a generator of stress and self-doubt. To address these challenges, mindfulness and digital detox strategies gain traction, emphasizing the conscious disengagement from constant connectivity. Imagine setting down your device and stepping into a quiet space, finding refuge in moments free from screen-induced overstimulation. Mindful practices act as an antidote to the relentless tempo of the digital age, inviting users to savor the present moment and create intentional boundaries around screen time. Even within the mental health care domain, practitioners integrate social media's impact into therapeutic conversations. Therapists encourage clients to reflect on their digital habits, identifying triggers and fostering awareness around the influence of online interactions on their emotional well-being. Here, screen time becomes another piece of the holistic puzzle in understanding and managing anxiety. As the world navigates the intricate balance of the digital age, historians and scholars continue to debate the overall impact of social media on mental health. Is it a force for democratizing information, empowering individuals to own their narratives, Or does it perpetuate further isolation and anxiety, trapping individuals in cycles of comparison and validation-seeking behavior? The answers reside not in absolutes, but in the nuances of each individual's interactions within the digital world. Venturing through the vibrant yet complex landscape of social media, you begin to appreciate the dialectic at play, a dynamic dialogue between connection and solitude, empowerment and pressure. It becomes evident that this digital tapestry woven through time is more than mere pixels and hashtags. It is a reflection of human nature, illuminated by the light of collective experience. As you traverse the ever-evolving path through these virtual landscapes, let the gentle hum of this digital era cradle your thoughts, leaving you poised to explore further innovations yet to unfold. With each step forward, guided by history's contemplative spirit, remain attuned to the evolving narratives that embrace the intricacies of anxiety and connectivity, ever mindful of the promise that emerges on the horizon. As the pages continue to turn into the 21st century, you find the cultural phenomenon of self-care becoming an essential touchstone in the narrative around women's anxiety. Imagine a world where the mantra of self-care echoes gently across daily life, a soft, reassuring whisper urging individuals to prioritize well-being amidst the kaleidoscope of modern demands. This concept, woven into varied practices from mindfulness to indulgent moments of solitude, emphasizes the profoundly simple notion of tending to oneself. Imagine stepping into your own personal retreat within your home, a corner adorned with your favorite books, a plush cushioned by the window's warm glow, a steaming cup of herbal tea cradled in your hands. Here, self-care is not a luxury, but a cherished necessity, a buffer against the world's chaos. Within this landscape, the industry around self-care flourishes, offering an array of products and experiences designed to soothe the anxious mind. Think of candles flickering, their scents imbuing rooms with tranquility, or the comfort of soft fabrics enfolding you in quiet reassurance. Spa days, wellness retreats, and DIY home treatments become cultural staples, each serving as a reminder to pause, breathe, and find calm within the whirlwind. Alongside these rituals, the practice of journaling emerges as a popular self-care tool. Picture a blank page waiting patiently as pen meets paper, words flowing effortlessly as emotions pour out in written form. The act of writing offers a sanctuary of reflection, where thoughts can be untangled and feelings articulated with clarity. A therapeutic release that hushes the tumult of anxious thoughts. In tandem, the notion of boundaries gains emphasis. The modern mind learns to say no, to carve out time for self-nurturing without guilt, a radical yet empowering act of declaring one's needs. Feel the quiet strength in the decision to prioritize mental well-being, creating a personal landscape where anxiety's presence is acknowledged, but not allowed to overshadow moments of peace. In workplaces, self-care initiatives gain ground as organizations recognize the importance of employee well-being. Picture companies fostering environments where mental health conversations become part of the culture, implementing programs that encourage breaks, mindfulness, and stress reduction techniques. In these supportive spaces, employees find room to breathe and thrive. Ironically, productivity blooms in the nurturing light of self-compassion. Yet, as the culture of self-care takes root, it also encounters scrutiny. Historians still argue whether the booming self-care industry capitalizes on vulnerabilities, creating a marketplace where true well-being risks becoming commodified. The challenge remains to distinguish genuine self-care practices from commercial noise, emphasizing authenticity in the pursuit of mental health. Through this exploration of self-care, the conversation around anxiety expands, embracing subtler, more personalized approaches to emotional resilience. It becomes apparent that the journey is not solely about eradicating anxiety, but integrating it into a broader narrative of self-awareness and growth. As you float through this gentle oasis of reflection and rejuvenation, consider how self-care serves as a testament to the enduring human capacity for healing and adaptability. With each mindful breath and each moment of introspection, the dialogue continues to evolve, laying groundwork for future innovations and deeper connections with oneself and others. As the world moves forward, embraced by the whispers of both history and progress, take with you the soothing assurance that each compassionate step will resonate within the chorus of humanity's timeless pursuit for peace and understanding. With anticipation, begin to glimpse the contours of yet another horizon shaped by creative therapies and cultural ingenuity, patiently waiting to unfurl in the journey's next chapters. As the horizon of culture, technology, and understanding expands, you find yourself drawn into a world rich with diverse cultural practices, where the treatment of women's anxiety manifests in colorful tapestries of tradition and modern innovation. Imagine a mosaic of communities, each contributing unique perspectives and wisdoms, intertwining to create holistic approaches that honor the multifaceted nature of anxiety. From the serene landscapes of the Far East, where traditional practices like Tai Chi and Qigong blend movement and meditation, you sense the gentle flow of energy harmonizing both body and mind. Picture a woman in a tranquil park, her movements flowing with grace, each breath drawing her closer to balance and centeredness. It's a dance of life, transcending the centuries, where anxiety is met with mindful presence and rhythmic calm. In India, Ayurveda's ancient wisdom continues to offer remedies rooted in nature's bounty. Envision herbal concoctions crafted with care, each herb selected for its healing properties, a commitment to nurturing the body from the inside out. Ayurvedic practices focus not only on physical health, but also on maintaining emotional equilibrium. Picture the soothing harmony of oil massages, designed to pacify restless energy, inviting a sense of soothing relaxation. Across the globe, indigenous cultures exemplify a profound connection to nature, emphasizing the healing power of the earth. Think of rituals that involve sacred plants, traditional chants, and community gatherings that transform anxiety into shared resilience. Here, the collective spirit acts as a buffer against anxiety's isolating shadows, affirming the value of community woven into the fabric of existence. In the Western world, these diverse approaches are embraced and integrated, forming vibrant patchworks of therapeutic options. Picture a clinic where traditional counseling is offered alongside acupuncture, yoga, and mindfulness classes, each modality contributing to a comprehensive pathway towards well-being. This fusion represents an exciting evolution, an acknowledgement that there is no one-size-fits-all solution to anxiety, but instead a garden of possibilities. As these practices coalesce, there comes a deep appreciation for cultural competence in mental health treatment, highlighting the need for sensitivity and understanding across diverse backgrounds. Clinicians are increasingly aware of cultural contexts influencing mental health, tailoring interventions to resonate authentically with each individual's lived experience. Yet even amidst this celebration of cultural wisdom, the challenge of cultural appropriation comes to light. Historians, scholars, and cultural advocates continue to debate the balance between appreciation and appropriation, urging respect and mindfulness in the sharing and adoption of traditional practices. The importance of preserving cultural integrity remains paramount as holistic approaches cross global thresholds. In this era of interconnectedness, technology forges paths for exchanging and celebrating diverse healing practices. Imagine virtual workshops bringing together practitioners from around the world, each offering insights, sharing techniques, and fostering a spirit of unity. These digital gatherings further widen the accessibility of cultural wisdom, bridging geographical divides with interactive engagement. As you wander through this richly woven cultural tapestry, cherished traditions and modern innovations intermingle, each enhancing and celebrating the journey towards mental health and tranquility. In this communal exploration, anxiety becomes not a singular story, but a shared narrative of humanity's enduring quest for balance, resilience, and understanding. Let the soothing rhythm of diverse practices and perspectives guide you, as time gently crests into another chapter. Here, at the cusp of ongoing discovery, feel the lull of anticipation gently cradle you, drawing you onward into the perpetual dance of learning and growth, where each step forward builds upon the foundations of shared knowledge, echoing the timeless essence of connectivity and compassion. As the narrative ebbs into a quiet reflection across the pages of history, remember how far the waves of understanding have reached, ever poised to embrace the new chapters awaiting at the horizon. With each tender embrace of history's whispers, find yourself lulled into a tranquil accord, where cultural richness and human empathy combine to illuminate the labyrinthine journey of managing anxiety. As you meander into the 21st century, the winds of change carry you to explore alternative treatments and the controversies that stir within them. Imagine a world where innovation knows no bounds, yet where the line between science and speculation is often artfully blurred, inviting curiosity and scrutiny in equal measure. In the realm of anxiety treatment, alternatives to conventional medicine have blossomed into a vibrant bouquet of options. Picture therapies like aromatherapy, where essential oils, extracted from nature's bounty, hold the promise of calming the mind and spirit. Imagine the subtle fragrance of lavender drifting through the air, its soothing scent designed to weave tranquility into the fabric of a busy day. These therapies offer a meeting ground between tradition and modern convenience, inviting individuals to explore a diversity of sensory experiences in pursuit of peace. But as with any garden, the allure of the exotic can lead to thorny paths where misunderstandings of efficacy and safety sometimes lurk. Homeopathy stands as another emblematic example of alternative approaches, its remedies championed by some as gentle allies in the battle against anxiety. With their foundational principle of like cures like, these tiny pills and tinctures seek balance through the stimulation of the body's natural healing processes. Picture a small apothecary's shop, lined with delicate vials labelled with enigmatic names, their promises inviting both skepticism and hope. Acupuncture is embraced by many as a practice with ancient wisdom, purporting to restore harmony within the body's energy systems. Picture a serene room, soft with candlelight, where the light touch of a needle releases tension like a sigh from your very soul. Therapy sessions become rituals of reflection and release, these needles acting as subtle conductors of internal equilibrium. Meanwhile, the resurgence of plant-based medicines, such as cannabis or psychedelic-assisted therapy, stirs thoughtful consideration and debates. Picture clinical settings where carefully controlled environments offer these experiences as potential pathways to relieve chronic anxiety. An intriguing, albeit controversial frontier that reignites conversations on mental health treatment. The allure of such therapies challenges traditional paradigms, inviting discussions that bridge the gap between historical law and modern science. These alternatives, though intriguing, spark debates among clinicians, regulatory bodies, and historians. Experts argue about efficacy and whether such treatments genuinely offer relief or shine merely as hopeful illusions. This tension mirrors a broader dialogue about the relationship between evidence-based treatments and those rooted in culture or personal experience. As the spectrum of treatments broadens, the phrase, "patients should remain informed consumers," whispers through these corridors, a reminder that each journey toward well-being is unique, and choices should be both personal and well-researched. Navigating these therapeutic landscapes requires discernment, a dance between open-minded exploration and critical thinking. In the ever-evolving story of anxiety treatment, these alternative therapies represent not only divergent paths, but also reflections of a society eternally searching for harmony. Within this garden of alternatives lies both possibility and complexity, with the winds of tradition and modern skepticism weaving together a narrative both ancient and newly imagined. Let these gentle breezes carry you forward as you continue to explore the rich tapestry of anxiety treatment, soon to unravel the intricate interplay of nutrition and well-being in your ongoing journey. As history's voice ebbs, reflecting softly against the boundaries of expectation and innovation, you find solace in understanding the infinite nuances of seeking solace. Each step a testament to humanity's enduring spirit of inquiry and hope. Allow your thoughts to drift gently onward, the whispers of time unfurling yet more layers of learning and introspection, waiting unheard on the current horizon. As you wend your way through the swirling narratives of anxiety treatment, you arrive at a path lined with the tantalizing aromas and vibrant hues of nutrition, a journey into how diet intertwines with mental well-being. Imagine a world where every meal transcends mere sustenance, becoming an opportunity to nourish not just the body, but the mind and spirit as well. In kitchens and cafes across the globe, the age-old adage, "you are what you eat," resonates more profoundly than ever. It highlights the intricate connections between the foods we consume and the emotional landscapes we navigate. Picture tables set with colourful arrays of fresh produce, whole grains and lean proteins, each ingredient contributing its own symphony of nutrients to support mental clarity and equilibrium. Within the realm of anxiety, nutritionists and mental health experts increasingly explore how dietary choices may influence mood and emotional resilience. Omega-3 fatty acids, often found in fatty fish, garner attention for their potential to bolster brain health and ease anxiety symptoms. Imagine a simple meal of grilled salmon, a taste of the sea's bounty, bringing with it whispers of calm to soothe a frayed mind. Complex carbohydrates, such as those found in whole grains and legumes, are cherished for their ability to level mood swings by regulating blood sugar. Picture warm bowls of oatmeal studded with berries, nourishing both body and spirit, a perfect start to a day filled with promise and potential. For many, the gut-brain axis presents a fascinating frontier, where probiotics and fermented foods like yogurt and kimchi are consumed not just for their culinary allure, but for their potential to enhance gut flora and contribute to mood regulation. Picture a crisp bite of sauerkraut or the tangy smoothness of kefir, small delights that may play a part in sustaining emotional balance. Yet, even with the promise wrapped in these nutritional insights, this territory is not without its debates. Historians and scientists still argue whether diet alone can exert substantial influence over anxiety, or whether its role is complementary, a supportive pillar, but not a standalone solution. Controversies linger over the efficacy of supplements such as vitamins and minerals, where some advocate their benefits while others question their necessity when balanced diets are maintained. The narrative broadens further as individuals celebrate the mindfulness of eating practices. Consider the art of savoring each meal, attentive eating characterized by slowing down and truly experiencing taste and texture, encouraging a harmonious relationship with food and, by extension, with oneself. These rituals, reminiscent of meditation, invite a calming presence with every bite, offering respite from anxiety's insistent clamor. As you stroll through farmers' markets or browse the aisles of health food stores, embrace the empowering knowledge that dietary choices can serve as both a foundation for well-being and an act of self-love. Engaging with food becomes a celebration, a daily communion with nature's abundance and variety. As the debate on nutrition and mental health continues, the focus remains on balance and individuality. Historians and scientists collectively underscore the importance of considering the whole person and how life elements connect in a symbiotic dance, one that respects personal preferences, cultural nuances, and the vibrant tapestry of experience. In savoring this journey through the culinary possibilities for managing anxiety, you find the reassuring reminder that wellness is a multifaceted quest. Each meal becomes a deliberate moment of connection to ourselves, inviting mindfulness into the heart of daily life. As you wander onward, the delicate threads of nutrition weave you into another unfolding story, one where physical motion itself shapes paths toward emotional equilibrium. Hinting at yet more discoveries lying just ahead, let this knowledge nourish your anticipation, carrying you gently into the realm where movement becomes a conduit of calm, poised to unfold across the next horizon of your journey. As your journey through the nuanced tapestry of anxiety treatments continues, you gracefully step into the world of movement, where exercise and endorphins emerge as vital allies in the pursuit of mental clarity and emotional balance. Imagine pathways lined with the rhythm of footsteps, where each stride offers transformative encounters between the body and the mind. In this dynamic landscape, the recognition of physical activity's role in anxiety management gains momentum. It's a world where the rhythmic beat of a heart during a brisk walk mirrors the steady drum of ancient rituals, resonating with the same promise of healing and renewal. Picture the sunrise casting golden hues upon a group gathering for morning yoga, each stretch and pose harmonizing the breath and easing the turbulent swells of anxiety. For many, the allure of the gym beckons as a sanctuary where stress converts into strength. Picture rows of treadmills, their soft whirring a collective symphony of collective intent, where each measure of progress translates into subtle shifts in mood and confidence. It's the modern-day forge for stress, a realm where anxiety's weight is lifted through the power of exertion and the beauty of routine. Researchers have long extolled the virtues of endorphins, the body's natural mood elevators unleashed through physical activity. Imagine the gentle glow of satisfaction radiating from a runner's face post-marathon, their effort rewarded with a flood of endorphins that bring both calm and a subtle, joyful euphoria. Dance, with its unfettered expression and communal joy, also plays an integral role in the narrative of movement. Picture a dance studio, where bodies sway in unison, each beat of the music inviting abandonment of tension, a silent invitation to leave anxiety on the dance floor as the world fades away in the embrace of rhythm. Yet, within these offerings, the role of exercise as a panacea remains a subject of debate. Historians and health professionals continue to explore whether the benefits of movement are universally accessible or vary dramatically based on individual factors like genetics, lifestyle, and personal preference. While some find solace and transformation in their physical pursuits, others may struggle with the time, motivation, or physical challenges that inhibit regular activity. Therefore, the conversation emphasizes the importance of finding personalized paths to incorporate movement into one's life, be it a gentle stroll through a local park, a mindful stretch at home, or a community-based exercise class. The joyous echo of sports and movement carries with it a recognition of community. Groups of friends gather for pickup games where the ephemeral nature of a single match transcends into profound connections and camaraderie. Here, within the bounds of a soccer field or a basketball court, anxiety is momentarily benched, replaced by the shared exhilaration of teamwork and play. As fitness continues to weave its way into the fabric of anxiety management, technology advances to further support these pursuits. Wearable fitness trackers offer encouragement in the form of metrics and feedback, each step a celebration along the journey to wellness. Consider the gentle ping of a step counter. A modern tally where reaching daily goals becomes a celebration of persistence and progress. Meanwhile, virtual classes broaden access, bridging geographic divides and bringing diverse offerings of movement into homes around the world. Here, technology invites individuals to explore options ranging from high-intensity intervals to calming Tai Chi forms, echoing the diversity and collaborative spirit of humanity's collective drive to mend body and mind. In wandering through this energetic path of movement, you embrace the vital realization that anxiety, in its many forms, can be gently nudged through the flow of motion. Recognize that the journey to mental equilibrium is a dance of discovery, one where each motion brings not just physiological benefits, but also the promise of mental release. As the tale spins forward, guided by history, health, and hope, you find yourself contemplating what lies beyond the horizon in the never-ending quest for understanding. Let each gentle step and invigorating move ever beckon you onward, and take comfort in the resilience of a human spirit that ingeniously adapts its quest for tranquility and joy. With each breath, you prepare to glide onward, ready to explore pathways of future therapies and trends nestled quietly within the sweeping pages of time. As you progress through the ever-evolving narrative of anxiety treatment, you find yourself at the doorstep of the future, an era brimming with emerging therapies and trends that promise to reshape how women's anxiety is understood and addressed. Imagine a landscape infused with innovation where science fiction inches closer to reality, equipping you with a wealth of possibilities to explore. In this era, technology continues to lead the charge, introducing sophisticated tools that leverage complex algorithms and artificial intelligence to tailor treatments to individual needs. Picture digital mental health platforms that utilize machine learning to analyze patterns in behavior, providing personalized insights and recommendations. These platforms become virtual companions, guiding users toward understanding their anxiety with unprecedented precision, much like possessing a counselor in your pocket. Neuroscientific advancements reveal the intricate dance of neural networks composing the human brain. Brain imaging technologies such as functional MRI and EEG illuminate how anxiety manifests biologically, guiding new interventions that aim to rewire negative thought patterns through specialized therapies. Neurofeedback, for instance, offers a glimpse into the brain's activity and provides real-time biofeedback, enabling users to cultivate healthier thought processes by watching their brainwaves evolve in response to relaxation techniques. In parallel, virtual reality (V) emerges as a dynamic therapeutic tool. Picture a tranquil garden unfurling around you, projected by VR as you immerse yourself in guided exposure therapy designed to address phobias and generalized anxiety. This controlled exposure to triggers within a safe virtual space empowers individuals to confront their fears incrementally, fostering resilience and reducing anxieties with remarkable efficacy. The therapeutic landscape also expands beyond the constraints of traditional approaches, embracing novel methods like psychedelic-assisted therapy. Under carefully controlled settings, substances such as psilocybin and MDMA are studied for their potential to reduce anxiety and enhance emotional healing. Picture a serene clinical environment where therapeutic guided sessions unveil insights that traditional methods may not reach, delivering transformative experiences that unravel tightly wound anxieties. Meanwhile, integrative practices such as energy healing and sound therapy garner attention, blending ancient wisdom with contemporary understanding. Imagine the gentle vibrations of sound waves enveloping you, created by crystal bowls or tuning forks, that resonate with the body's frequencies. urging anxiety to dissolve into harmony. These practices represent a convergence of tradition and technology, continuing the theme of holistic engagement with mental health. As society embraces inclusivity and diversity, mental health professionals increasingly prioritize cultural competence, seeking to understand anxiety within varied cultural contexts. Integrating folklore, traditional practices, and community narratives into treatment paradigms crowdsources wisdom from every corner of the globe, coalescing into a comprehensive and empathetic approach to healing. Amidst these technological marvels and evolving practices, the tension between accelerated innovation and ethical considerations persist. Historians and ethicists ponder whether these advancements will remain accessible or perpetuate existing divides, urging vigilance to ensure the democratization of benefits. The ongoing conversation emphasizes the need for inclusivity in ensuring that all individuals, regardless of background or socioeconomic status, can partake in the healing promise of these emerging therapies. As you stand on the threshold of this exciting and ever-changing frontier, marvel at the weaving of past insights with future visions. Within this space, anxiety treatment unfolds as a dynamic kaleidoscope of options, each elucidating humanity's ongoing quest for understanding. Let the promise of tomorrow's therapies extend a gentle hand, guiding you toward horizons yet to be discovered. With hope intertwined with curiosity, sail into the unfolding mysteries of the future, ever honoring the continuum of history, innovation, and healing that has carried you to this moment. In the final stretch of this sweeping journey across time, you find yourself poised on the cusp of reflection and anticipation. As you gaze back over centuries of evolving understanding and varied approaches to treating women's anxiety, the contours of progress unfold with surprising elegance. The lessons of history blend seamlessly into the promise of innovation, each step a testament to human resilience and the enduring quest for peace and understanding. In this moment of contemplation, let your thoughts gently sweep across the loud tapestry, woven with the lives of countless women and the myriad ways anxiety has been understood and addressed. Each era has contributed its unique voice, a layering of traditions, innovations, and cultural reflections that together form a rich symphony of healing. As diverse as these approaches have been, each shares a fundamental desire to alleviate suffering, to find tranquility amidst the chaos, and to beckon a sense of agency in the face of uncertainty. Here, women have actively shaped and reshaped their narratives, advocating for their well-being in ways both individual and collective. Their stories speak of courage and transformation, and are forever etched into the annals of time. Yet, even as we celebrate the vibrant legacy of this narrative, the quest for understanding and healing continues undeterred. The road forward beckons with the promise of emerging therapies, the gentle pulse of technology's potential, and the evolving recognition of cultural diversity in therapeutic paradigms. The future holds the potential to broaden and deepen our understanding of anxiety, tapping into the nuanced interplay of biology, environment, and personal experience, to craft ever more inclusive and effective pathways for healing. As you allow these reflections to settle, feel the soothing embrace of reassurance, comforted by the notion that though the journey is ongoing, it is filled with endless possibilities for growth and joy. The collective wisdom of the ages serves as our guide, whispering tales of insight and hope as we tread the pathways yet to come. As this evening's journey draws to a tender close, wrap yourself in the soft glow of these narratives, a gentle light that shall illuminate your path with its timeless warmth. Let the calm of this history-infused reverie ease your thoughts into dreams where past, present, and future harmonize in the delicate dance of understanding. In the hush of night, as your thoughts drift with the quiet rhythm of centuries past, find solace not just in the lessons uncovered, but in the endless potential that lies ahead, waiting softly in the dawn's embrace. With this gentle transition, we arrive at the conclusion of our exploration. Greater than, greater than, greater than. End of script. Sweet dreams.